This story begins deep in the wild, a stretch of sun-scorched savanna where life and death share the same breath of wind. The horizon glows orange, and the air trembles with heat. Then it happens. A lion cub's desperate cry cuts through. The savanna air, echoing like a call for help no one can ignore. It's raw, trembling, and filled with the kind of fear that only something truly alone can know. In this unforgiving land, survival is never guaranteed. So before we dive in, take a moment to like this video and subscribe. But only if you truly enjoy these emotional stories. Comment below your favorite animal, and let's begin this journey together. The cry comes again, shorter this time, urgent. Ranger Daniel, stationed nearby at a conservation outpost, freezes. He's heard many sounds in the bush. The laughter of hyenas, the low bellow of elephants, but never this. He grips his radio, hesitates, then steps off the dirt track. The sound pulls him like a thread through tall grass, where dust glitters in the fading light. His boots sink slightly into the dry soil. The world feels suspended, even the cicadas fall silent. Then a flicker of movement. A cub, small, trembling golden fur streaked with mud, stumbles from behind a fallen log. Its ribs are visible, its eyes glassy with exhaustion. It lets out another cry, softer now, as if pleading for understanding. Daniel lowers to one knee, speaking softly. "Hey there, little one!" Easy. The cub doesn't run. It turns, glances toward the horizon, and takes a step away, then looks back. Again, like it wants him to follow. Daniel's instincts flare. This isn't a random encounter. Cubs don't wander this far without reason. Somewhere out there, something's gone terribly wrong. He checks the wind direction, south, toward the old ravine, a place rangers rarely go after dusk. The cub lets out another sound, half growl, half sob, and begins limping into the tall grass. Daniel's heart pounds. Every instinct screams danger, but something in that cry refuses to let him walk away. He grabs his flashlight, adjusts his tranquilizer rifle, and follows. The sun dips below the horizon, turning the sky to blood-red fire. Each step takes him deeper into the unknown, into the kind of silence that only nature holds before revealing its secrets. The cub stops once, looking back with eyes that seem to say, "Hurry." Daniel swallows hard. Somewhere out there, a mother is waiting, or dying. Either way, he's going to find out before the night ends. But as he takes another step forward, a low rumble rolls across the plains. Not thunder, but something alive, something powerful. And in that moment, Daniel realizes this is only the beginning. But in the tall grass ahead, something else moves. Heavy, deliberate, and far too close to be the cub's mother. The grass parts as you follow the cub, each blade whispering against your legs. The sound of your boots crunching over dry soil mixes with the faint whimpering ahead. The cub keeps glancing back, its tiny frame trembling with exhaustion, yet fueled by something deeper: purpose. The air feels heavier here, thick with the scent of dust and distant rain. You crouch low, brushing your fingers through the dirt. That's when you see them. Paw prints, not one but many, large, fresh. They lead south toward the gorge known among rangers as the Silent Hollow. Few go there, none after sundown. Daniel raises his binoculars. In the dying light, he can just make out dark shapes in the distance, vultures circling above a ravine. His stomach knots. Something has happened. He steadies his breath, whispers into his radio, Ranger Daniel to base, following a cub, possible injured pride in Sector 12. No backup yet. Static crackles in response. The signal fades. Out here, technology bends to nature's will. The cub limps ahead, leaving faint trails of blood in the dust. Daniel's pulse quickens. Every instinct says turn back. But something about the cub's persistence feels almost human, like it's pleading, "Please, don't let me face this alone." He keeps moving, ducking under low branches. The wind shifts, carrying a deep guttural roar from far ahead. It's distant, but unmistakable, the voice of a full-grown lion echoing through the valley. Daniel freezes. That's not a call of dominance, it's a warning. The sun drops behind the ridge, and long shadows stretch across the plain like dark fingers. Daniel clicks on his flashlight. Dust motes dance in the beam. Every sound feels magnified, the rustle of leaves, the faint rattle of distant thunder. He kneels beside a paw print again. It's fresh, still warm in the cooling air. He can even see where claws dragged slightly, as if the lion was running, or dragging something heavy. A wildlife fact surfaces in his mind. Lions rarely abandon their cubs unless forced by injury or death. The realization tightens his chest. Somewhere ahead, a mother lioness may be fighting for her life. He pushes forward, whispering, "Hang in there, little one." The cub mews softly, its pace slowing, its tail dragging through the dust. Then, silence. The cub stops, ears perked. Daniel follows its gaze to the ravine ahead. The land dips sharply into shadow. Broken branches mark the edge, and the faint scent of blood drifts upward. Daniel tightens his grip on his tranquilizer rifle. Somewhere, down there lies the truth, and maybe the rest of the pride. But just as he steps closer to the edge, a roar tears through the valley, loud, furious, and close enough to rattle his bones. Something massive is down there, and it knows he's coming. The roar fades, but its echo lingers, low and trembling like a warning drumbeat. Daniel steadies his breathing. He's alone now. No radio contact, no backup within miles. The cub sits near the edge of the ravine, panting, eyes wide with a mix of fear and trust. Lightning flickers in the far distance, revealing a gash in the earth below, jagged, dark, and alive with the rustle of unseen movement. He knows the rule carved into every ranger's code: never enter a predator's den alone. Yet here he stands, rifle slung across his shoulder, staring at the cub who refuses to leave. Daniel whispers, "You want me to follow, don't you?" The cub lets out a faint cry and takes one small step toward the ravine slope. It's answer enough. He descends carefully, boots sliding on loose earth. The smell of decay grows stronger, iron, musk, and the unmistakable tang of blood. Dry branches crack beneath his weight. The cub follows, stumbling but determined. Daniel glances at it, murmuring, "You're braver than most humans I know." At the bottom he finds drag marks, deep grooves in the soil streaked with fur, a lioness's trail. She's been pulled or crawled this way. He raises his light, and there, half hidden under thorny brush, he spots tufts of golden mane caught in the branches. His throat tightens. The pride was ambushed. A faint growl trembles through the air. Daniel freezes, scanning the darkness. The cub presses against his leg, trembling. The growl fades again, replaced by another sound, rhythmic breathing, labored and close. He moves toward it slowly, careful not to startle whatever lies beyond. The flashlight's beam dances over broken rocks, claw marks, and finally, eyes. Two golden eyes, wide with pain, glint from beneath a twisted root. The lioness. Her flank rises and falls shallowly, her body half buried in dirt. She tries to lift her head but collapses again. The cub lets out a tiny squeal and crawls forward, pressing its head against her paw. The lioness exhales, soft and trembling. Daniel kneels beside her, his voice low. "You held on for him, didn't you?" He inspects the wound, a deep gash near the shoulder, jagged and unnatural. Metal, not from claws or tusks. A trap. He curses under his breath, poachers. The realization cuts deeper than any wound. He radios again, static only. The storm is building fast. The air crackles with ozone. He has minutes, maybe less, to act. He unpacks his medkit, injecting a mild sedative near her wound. "Easy, girl. You're safe now." But even as he works, a sound echoes behind him, a snapping twig, too deliberate to be the wind. He turns sharply, flashlight sweeping the darkness. Someone else is here watching. Daniel freezes. The Savannah, moments ago alive with the hum of insects, now feels suffocatingly still. His flashlight cuts through the darkness, slicing across tangled roots and thorny brush, but nothing moves. The cub presses against his leg again, trembling. Only the lioness's slow, shallow breaths break the silence. He whispers into the wind, "Show yourself." No response, only the faint creak of branches swaying. He exhales slowly, scanning the ground. That's when he spots them. More tracks, human, barely an hour old. Heavy boot prints crushed into the dust, looping around the ravine. Whoever was here, they didn't leave empty-handed. Daniel's mind races. The trap wound, the blood trail, the circling vultures, it all connects now. Poachers had come, probably at dawn, and set snares near the pride's hunting ground. The lioness must have fought to protect her cub and got caught instead. He swallows hard. Every second he waits could mean another life lost. He refocuses on the lioness. Her wound oozes slowly, her breathing shallow. He cleans the gash with antiseptic, whispering as he works, "You're going to make it. Just hold on." The cub watches, eyes wide with desperate hope. Daniel feels the weight of that trust, like a stone in his chest. Thunder rolls closer, shaking leaves loose from the acacia trees above. Lightning flickers, and for an instant, something metallic glints under the nearest tree trunk. He crawls toward it, brushing away dry leaves. His stomach drops. Another trap, identical, freshly set, teeth still slick with bait. Nearby, claw marks scar the bark where an animal had fought to escape. He curses softly, dismantling the mechanism. A mechanical snare, designed for large predators, illegal, deadly, and close enough to suggest the poachers might return to check their work. He pockets the tag number stamped on the steel, BR-47. It's a clue, one that could expose an entire operation if he survives the night. The wind picks up, carrying the first drops of rain. He wipes sweat and dust from his brow, glancing at the cub now curled against its mother. "We need to move you both before the storm hits," he murmurs. He pulls a tarp from his pack, gently covering the lioness to keep her dry. The cub looks up at him, eyes full of something that feels almost like understanding. Then from beyond the tree line, a rustle. Slow, deliberate. Not wind, not animal. The metallic click of a safety being released. Daniel's heart skips a beat. He swings his flashlight toward the sound. Nothing but the endless shimmer of rain against leaves. But he knows what he heard. Someone's nearby, watching his every move. He switches off his light, crouching beside the cub, whispering, "Stay quiet, little one." The night swallows them whole, the storm roaring to life above. And in the darkness beyond the trees, a pair of boots begin moving closer. Rain begins to fall in heavy sheets, hissing against the dry earth. Each drop lands like a whisper of warning. Daniel crouches low beside the lioness, shielding her body with the tarp as lightning illuminates the gorge. Her breathing grows weaker, yet her eyes never leave his. There's something in them, not fear, not even pain, but purpose. It's as if she's trying to tell him something he can't yet understand. He works quickly. From his medpack, he draws a syringe of antibiotics and a coagulant. His fingers shake, not from fear but urgency. He injects near the wound, whispering steady words as if his calm might transfer to her. "Stay with me. Your cub's right here." The cub nuzzles against her paw, mewling softly. A flash of lightning reveals a dark stain spreading beneath the roots where she lies. Daniel brushes away wet leaves and freezes. Beneath her body, half buried in mud, lies another cub, smaller, still. The breath leaves his lungs. He feels for a pulse, nothing. The lioness shifts slightly, her muscles tensing as if she knows what he's found. Her chest heaves once, a low rumble rising from deep within, grief raw and primal. Daniel swallows hard. "I'm sorry," he murmurs. The surviving cub lets out a high, trembling sound, pressing closer to its mother. Even in agony, the lioness drapes a paw over it protectively. Daniel realizes this is why she led her cub to call for help. She knew she couldn't save both. One life for another. Outside, thunder rumbles like distant drums. Daniel's radio crackles faintly, bass finally coming through. Daniel, come in. We're getting storm interference. Your location. He grabs it instantly. Sector 12, Silent Hollow. I've got a wounded lioness and cub. Possible poacher traps active. Need extraction ASAP. Static answers him. Then the signal cuts again. He exhales sharply. He's on his own. The lioness blinks slowly, her eyes dimming. Daniel feels her pulse, weak but steady. We'll get you out, he promises. He unrolls a stretcher top and begins securing her gently. It's impossible to move her alone, but he has to try. The cub whines, circling anxiously, then to glint in the mud beside her paw. Daniel wipes it clean, a small broken metal tag stamped with the same code as before. BR-47, poacher gear. Only this one is bent, clawed, torn free by force. The lioness must have fought back, hard. He pockets the tag, realization dawning. The poachers weren't just hunting for trophies, they were tracking her. This wasn't random. She's been targeted. A distant crack of gunfire splits the rain. Daniel's head snaps up. Not thunder. A rifle, close. The cub lets out a sharp cry. The lioness tries to rise, but collapses again. Daniel grips his rifle tight, heart pounding. They're coming back for her. The gunshot echoes across the gorge like thunder, rolling through the storm-soaked air. Daniel presses the cub close to his chest and crouches behind a fallen log. His heart slams against his ribs, breath shallow, adrenaline sharp. The rain masks most sounds now, but that shot was close, too close. Someone knows he's here. Lightning flashes again, revealing movement on the ridge, silhouettes against the horizon. 3 figures moving fast, rifles slung low. Poachers. They're scanning the terrain. Beams of dim light cutting through the sheets of rain. Daniel knows their pattern. He's seen it before. They'll sweep the area, locate their traps, and finish any survivors. He whispers to the cub, "Stay down," though it can't possibly understand. Still, the little creature presses lower, shivering but silent. Daniel's eyes flick toward the lioness. She's barely conscious now, her chest rising unevenly. He can't move her, not without alerting them. But he can't leave her either. He slides his rifle into position and peers through the scope. Through the rain-distorted lens, he spots one poacher kneeling, checking a metal snare, the same model that tore into the lioness's shoulder. The man gestures to another, shouting something lost in the wind. Then Daniel sees it, a canvas bag slung over his back. Inside, the shape of something that makes his blood run cold, a lion's paw, fresh. Daniel swallows bile. This isn't just about money, it's cruelty. They're harvesting body parts for trade. Illegal, brutal, and endless. He grits his teeth. "Not tonight," he whispers. The cub shifts beside him, eyes wide and glinting in the lightning. The poachers move closer, stepping carefully, methodically. Daniel knows he can't take all 3. He needs to outthink them, use the storm as cover. He grabs a handful of stones and tosses them toward the far side of the ravine. The sound echoes, sharp enough to draw attention. 2 beams swing that way. There! One shouts, firing into the dark. Daniel moves the other way, fast and low, slipping through wet grass until he's behind the lioness. He reaches into his pack, pulls a flare, and strikes it. Red light floods the ravine, casting long shadows across the mud. The poachers turn instantly, but the glare blinds them. Daniel fires a tranquilizer dart at the nearest one. The man stumbles, collapses into the mud. The others panic, shouting over each other, rain pounding around them. He grabs the cub and backs toward the tree line. The lioness groans softly, her paw twitching. Daniel whispers, "I'll come back for you, I swear," and lays her gently beneath the tarp once more. The cub claws weakly at the ground, unwilling to leave. Then another sound. Not thunder, not gunfire. A low guttural growl from the shadows beyond the poachers. Daniel turns his light and sees 2 more lions emerging from the darkness, eyes burning gold. The pride has returned. The rain slows to a heavy drizzle, and the world seems to hold its breath. The red flare burns low in the mud, casting flickering light across the ravine. Daniel's pulse hammers in his ears. Ahead of him, the 2 lions stand side by side. Full-grown males, their manes darkened by the rain, their muscles coiled with tension. Behind him, the lioness lies weak, her cub pressed beneath his arm. Between them all, the poachers. The largest of the poachers steadies his rifle, voice raw against the wind. "Take the shot before they close in." The other man fumbles with his weapon, hands shaking. The lion's growls deepen, vibrating through the earth like distant thunder. Daniel knows what's coming. One wrong move, a shot, a shout, and the entire pride could charge. He raises his own rifle, aiming low, projecting his voice calm and steady. "Don't fire. Back away, now." The poachers glance at him, startled, but their greed overpowers fear. "That's our kill!" One spits. Daniel shakes his head. "Not tonight." A flash of lightning splits the sky, illuminating the scene like a frozen photograph. Predators and prey, humans and beasts, all locked in a moment older than time. Then the silence breaks. One lion steps forward, teeth bared, mane bristling. The poacher panics and pulls the trigger. The shot goes wide, ricocheting off stone. The sound ignites chaos. The lions roar, deafening, primal. One charges, a blur of muscle and fury. The poachers scatter, slipping in the mud. Daniel fires his tranquilizer dart into the charging lion's flank, not to harm, but to protect both sides. The lion stumbles, roaring again, before collapsing just short of the nearest man. The second poacher fires wildly, bullets tearing through leaves. Daniel ducks, dragging the cub behind a tree trunk. The fallen lion lies breathing heavily, sedated but alive. The other circles, pacing, torn between rage and confusion. Daniel steps from cover, arms raised, shouting, "Go! Leave now while you still can." The poachers hesitate, then bolt toward the ridge, tripping and scrambling as they vanish into the storm. Daniel lowers his rifle, exhaling a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. His ears ring. The only sounds left are the rain and the labored breaths of the lions. The cub squirms free, trotting toward its fallen protector, pressing its head against the massive paw. The standing lion snorts softly, lowering his head in what almost feels like recognition. Daniel kneels beside the lioness again. Her breathing steadies slightly, the sedative and antibiotics finally taking hold. "You did it," he murmurs. "They're safe now." The sky begins to clear. The first hint of dusk filters through the thinning clouds, painting everything in cold gold and deep shadow. Daniel looks up at the ridge. He knows this isn't over. The poachers are wounded, angry, and still armed. And somewhere out there they're regrouping. In the fading light, Daniel senses movement again. This time, human footsteps circling back through the mist. Darkness falls completely now. No moon, only the dim afterglow of the dying storm. The air smells of wet dust and smoke. Daniel can barely see beyond the faint red shimmer of the used flare, but he doesn't need light to feel the danger closing in. The poachers are back. He hears them before he sees them, boots squelching through mud, the metallic click of reloaded rifles. He moves fast, crouching low beside the lioness. Her breathing is steadier now, but still fragile. The cub stays pressed against her, whimpering softly. "We can't stay here," he mutters. He unclips his flashlight, switching to its lowest beam. The ravine walls gleam slick with rain, and every sound echoes tenfold. A voice slices through the night, rough, furious. "He's still down there. I saw him drag the cub." Another replies, "Forget the cub, get the lioness. That's the trophy." Daniel's pulse surges. They want her alive. That means they'll risk everything to get close. He reaches into his pack and pulls out a signal flare, his last one. If he can buy time until sunrise, backup might track the flare's thermal signature. He looks at the cub and whispers, "It's going to get loud." The first poacher slides down the ravine wall, rifle drawn. Daniel ducks behind a tree root and strikes the flare. It bursts into searing light, flooding the darkness in red fire. "Over here," he shouts, drawing them away from the lions. Gunfire erupts instantly, bullets snapping through leaves and bark. Daniel dives behind a boulder, mud splashing across his face. The flare burns bright, casting wild shadows that twist and dance like ghosts. Then a roar. Not thunder, not anger, but vengeance. The male lion, the one Daniel tranquilized earlier, is stirring. Groggy but alive. His head lifts, eyes blazing through the smoke. He sees the intruders. Another roar splits the night, deeper, louder, closer. The second lion charges from the opposite side, massive and unstoppable. The poachers panic. One fires again, the bullet grazing the lion's shoulder. It only enrages him. The beast pounces, knocking the rifle aside with a single swipe. The second man flees into the trees, screaming for help. Daniel watches, frozen, torn between duty and awe. Nature has taken control again, raw, unfiltered justice. The storm's remnants return in a gust of wind, carrying sparks from the flare into dry brush. Fire licks upward, crackling through the grass. Daniel curses under his breath, the ravines turning into a trap of flame. He runs back to the lioness, draping the tarp over her and lifting the cub into his arms. Heat surges behind him, painting everything in orange glow. He staggers up the slope, lungs burning, mud sliding beneath his boots. The cub wriggles weakly, its small heart pounding against his chest. He doesn't look back until he reaches the ridge. Below, fire devours the brush, illuminating the lions' silhouettes, the guardians of their own world. Daniel radios once more, voice hoarse. Sector 12, I've got eyes on fire and multiple animals alive. Need extraction now. Static, then finally a faint voice. Copy that, Daniel. Helicopter inbound. Relief floods through him. He collapses to his knees, clutching the cub. But as he looks back at the burning ravine, he wonders, who truly rescued whom tonight? Behind him, in the fiery glow, the lioness moves for the first time, lifting her head toward the stars. The morning arrives like a slow breath after a nightmare. The storm has passed. Smoke drifts lazily above the ravine, curling into a sky painted with gold and lavender. The helicopter's blades beat against the wind, stirring dust and embers as it lands near the rescue site. Daniel shields his eyes, exhaustion etched into every line of his face. He holds the cub close as the crew rushes forward with stretchers and medical gear. Vitals, one medic shouts over the roar. Daniel gestures toward the lioness, her eyes barely open but alive. She's sedated and stable. We need to move now before the heat reignites. They lift her carefully onto a stretcher, wrapping her wounds, while Daniel keeps the cub wrapped in his jacket. The little creature nuzzles his chin, letting out a faint purr. It's the first peaceful sound he's heard all night. As the chopper rises, Daniel looks down at the ravine, now a black scar across the earth. The two male lions remain at its edge, watching silently, their manes rippling in the wind. Guardians of the fallen, survivors of a night that tested every boundary between man and beast. At the sanctuary, time stretches differently. The world hums softly, generators buzzing, radios crackling, the distant calls of waking birds. The lioness lies in a recovery pen under gentle light. Her wound has been cleaned, bandaged, and medicated. Daniel stands beside the enclosure, sipping coffee gone cold hours ago. The cub sits at her side, its tiny paw resting against her flank, refusing to leave. Dr. Leah, the lead wildlife vet, joins him quietly. She's lucky, she says. If you'd been an hour later. Her words trail off. Daniel nods, gaze fixed on the lioness. She wasn't lucky, he replies softly. She fought for him. She made sure we found her. Outside, the sun climbs higher, turning the plains to liquid gold. A few rangers return with evidence, confiscated traps, broken rifles, and the twisted tags marked BR-47. The same code Daniel found in the dirt. Soon these will lead to arrests. Justice may come slowly, but it will come. Daniel steps into the pen quietly. The lioness's eyes flutter open, calm now, no longer wild with pain. The cub chirps, brushing its nose against hers. For a long, silent moment, mother and child simply breathe together. Daniel kneels, the weight of the night melting into something lighter, quieter. He glances at the wound, healing but deep, and murmurs, "You're home now." Outside the glass, the Savannah stretches endlessly, washed clean by the storm. The same land that nearly claimed them now glows with renewal, green shoots rising where the fire passed, life reclaiming what was nearly lost. Daniel closes his eyes and listens. No gunfire, no cries, just the wind carrying the soft rhythm of survival. But deep within that peace, a sound lingers in his mind, the cub's first desperate cry in the dark. The cry that changed everything. And as the sun fully breaks the horizon, the Savannah breathes again. The days pass quietly after the storm. The air grows softer, the plains greener. The sanctuary hums with routine again. Morning feedings, medical rounds, the steady rhythm of healing. But for Daniel, everything feels different now. He walks the same paths, hears the same wind through the acacia trees, yet every sound reminds him of that night, of courage, of loss, of the thin line between survival and surrender. The lioness, once fragile and broken, now moves with strength again. Her muscles rebuild with every step, her wound closing into a thin scar beneath her golden coat. The cub follows her endlessly, playful, curious, sometimes clumsy, but always within reach. The other rangers call him Echo, for the sound that first brought them together. One evening, as the sun sinks low, Daniel stands by the observation deck overlooking the release valley. The wind is warm, carrying the scent of wet grass and distant rain. He watches as the gate opens, and the lioness steps out slowly, her cub at her side. She pauses, looks back once, not with fear but acknowledgement. Then she walks forward, blending into the tall golden grass until only the tips of her ears remain. Echo hesitates, then bounds after her, disappearing into the wild where he belongs. Dr. Leah joins Daniel, arms folded, a faint smile on her face. "You did it," she says softly. Daniel shakes his head. "She did. I just followed her lead." They stand in silence as the sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky with crimson and violet streaks. The world feels calm again, the kind of peace that only follows after chaos. Somewhere out there, the pride roams free once more, unaware that their survival has already become legend. As the light fades, Daniel whispers to himself, "Remember when the cub first cried under the tree?" He smiles faintly, the memory both haunting and beautiful. That cry had been more than a plea for help. It was a call to witness, a reminder that even in the wildest corners of the earth, compassion still finds a way to echo. The danger has passed, peace has returned, and the savannah rests once more. The wind moves softly through the grass, carrying the song of life renewed, the same melody that has played here for thousands of years. And as the stars bloom above the dark horizon, the ranger turns away, his heart lighter, his purpose clear. The circle has closed, not in loss, but in balance. The savannah sleeps beneath a curtain of stars. The fires have long faded, leaving only the soft scent of rain and rebirth. Crickets sing from the tall grass, their chorus weaving gently with the rustle of the wind. In the distance, a lion's roar drifts faintly, not of warning but of homecoming. It rolls over the plains like a heartbeat, steady and proud. Daniel sits near the campfire outside the sanctuary fence, its glow reflected in his tired eyes. The night is cool now, peaceful. He watches the horizon where the lioness and her cub vanished hours ago. Out there, he imagines her teaching Echo to hunt, to listen, to trust the rhythm of the wild. The thought brings him quiet joy. He exhales slowly, feeling the weight of the past nights lift from his shoulders. The world has reset itself. Chaos giving way to calm, loss to renewal. Even the silence feels different now, filled not with fear, but with gratitude. Above, the constellations shimmer like old guardians watching over the land. Daniel leans back, closes his eyes, and lets the wind carry the final echoes of the cub's first cry, the sound that started everything. Tomorrow will bring new rescues, new challenges, new stories. But tonight, there is only peace.